in addition to humanoid robots, Musk also said that he wanted to focus on automated vehicles too. And
right, and how they're driving themselves out of the plant,
the robo-taxi,
and sort of thing like
that. I think there are actually other vehicle manufacturers whose vehicles can drive out of the plant. But they probably don't talk about it as much because they don't want to bump up their stock. I don't know what.
Or they don't think it's a big deal.
Or maybe that's it, yeah.
Is your blood boiling yet? That was just a little teaser of the retardation that we get on this podcast from Gary, Bob, and Jerry today. The three of them sit in a circle and try to talk Tesla, and they give it their best. They really do. They really give it their best to try to understand what's happening. So let's get into it.
First, kind of your perspective on that transition, and then why would a bipedal robot be better than something else?
Yeah, so I'll give you my personal opinion. So speaking from Mike Chico, personal opinion, I don't think that a bipedal robot is better. I don't.
Save that on the tape.
Right.
I want to play that for John. I agree with you.
Is this when I get up and leave?
I agree with you 100%. I want you to stay forever.
Ooh, I thought my half an hour was over faster than the way I explain it is that however you want to think about how we are made, whether it's God or evolution or whatever, but our bodies are made to do an infinite number of things, where I can drive a car and I can pick up that water bottle and I can point and articulate. And so our bodies are made to do an infinite number of things. And when you get into automation, you don't need to do an infinite number of things. Now, you have to do a finite number of things. Now, that finite number of things might be 1,000 things, but it's still finite. And so the idea of trying to recreate a human body that can do an infinite number of things, where you never need the automation to do that, they should do a finite number of things. We strongly feel that we can use more traditional automation. That is not to say that it's hard, because our automation, hard meaning fixed or limited, we're making extremely flexible automation today. But for example, if I wanted to pick up that water bottle and that coaster, I wouldn't necessarily make something that has 5 fingers to be able to do that. I might make a very unique thing. One thing that has a suction cup that shoots out of the center of my hand, and one thing that has a gripper, so I could do this and I could suck it up. And so now I can really invent all these different ways to do what I need to do. And you start to see some companies do that. And then when you get to bipedal, wheels and tank treads, and just
seems logical.
There's way better ways to do that.
Yeah. How about legs? And let me just put a disclaimer on this guy's entire argument. This guy represents Fanuc Robotics, a company that makes robotic arms. And he's coming on this show to promote his company, so why in hell would he sit there and say, oh yeah, bipedal robots that can do an infinite number of things is probably better than the obsolete robotic arms that we make? No. He's not going to say that. Optimus is going to get to the point where it's integrated with Grok and you can say to it, pick up that water bottle, and it'll do it. But he sat there and arguing that it would be better for his company to develop a robot that the only thing it could do would be to pick up that water bottle. What an idiot. Let's keep watching.
I was delighted to hear him say that bipedal robots are not the future, despite the fact that we heard Elon Musk say this week that he is going to have his plants full of Optimus robots. So, Steve, as a manufacturing guy, what do you think about that?
So, unprompted, I was on a call immediately before this about a panel discussion at an upcoming regional show, and one of the panelists mentioned Optimus specifically and said he would consider it. He admitted that I think the current price is like $40,000 is what they're talking about. He said it'd probably be twice that at least. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I didn't have a chance to follow up on why he would be interested in that type of robot.
It just strikes me that it's sort of a novelty act. It's like in the early days of robotics that companies used to buy robots and stick them in their lobby. So then people would come in and say, ooh, you must be advanced. You have a robot. The thing wasn't doing anything, but...
It's hard to deny that Elon is really smart and is really good at creating futures. But this one, I don't understand why, other than it's really cool. There are certain very, very small or narrow ranges where, okay, that makes sense. But as Mike pointed out, stability, movability, things that we do sort of naturally well, but not as well as some other things.
Right.
I mean, I could possibly see some sort of hybrid, but why recreate a human?
Why?
You recreate a human because the world is designed for humans. You can kind of smell the fear and insecurity just coming off these three. Gary suggested that Tesla is only putting the robots in their showrooms to make it seem like they're cool and techy. That is just an astronomically dumb statement. Tesla's already invested $15 billion into compute. We can look, I'll play a video right now of the progress they've made on Optimus walking and movements over the last 3 years. They literally held an event that people went to, the We Robot event, where they actually interacted with the robot. Like, did that just completely go over these guys' heads? I can't even believe I'm making this video. And you have this guy who literally said he was talking to somebody who is interested in the humanoid robot, a manufacturer. And they're all sitting around scratching their heads going, I just don't understand. This is so good. I actually thought we were beyond this. I really did. I thought we were turning a corner. And guys, this video only gets worse. Let's keep watching.
So in more interesting news, Tesla's revenue in Q1 fell 9% year over year. Its profit was down 71%. The company blamed a sharp decline in vehicle deliveries, partly tied to its Model Y redesign, for the disappointing results. Do you guys think that is the cause of the disappointing results?
I got in trouble last time.
I didn't get in trouble.
But weren't sales down last year for Tesla? Didn't they have a 1%? That was the first.
Well, we're just talking about the
year-over-year.
first quarter. We're starting fresh.
I would say no, that was not the only reason. In fact, profits were even less or in the negative if you took out the credits.
The credits they sell for carbon emissions.
Yeah.
So get in trouble, Brett. Say something.
I think clearly they've got a brand issue. They also are going through a change in or transition in product. That makes a difference. But they've clearly got a brand issue, and they're also facing a lot more competition.
Exactly.
It's going to be a lot tougher. And if you look at it from the outside, you look at, they talked about the Model 2 as it was being referenced, being this low-cost, high-volume thing. That's kind of where the Chinese play. It's going to be tough to play in that market, so that went away. Now it's kind of just a decontented Model 3, which means less profit per vehicle, even if they do sell them. It's going to be a tough time. You know what they remind me of? A car company. Just a good old-fashioned car company at this point.
So
Yeah, we're back. Full car company. And demand in China is just off the rocker. It's just gone because there's competition. Even though Tesla achieved record orders for a single day in China when they just launched the new Model Y. Oh, and speaking of China, in the first quarter, didn't Tesla just copy and paste full self-driving into an entirely new region with incredibly insane traffic? And didn't it perform flawlessly, generating immense amount of interest in China looking into Tesla's technology? Does that sound like a car company? And how has it not occurred to them where, like, they filmed this yesterday, it just got posted. Tesla missed earnings by 10% as they suggested, but are they not seeing the stock go up 25% this week after that earnings miss? How can it be that that doesn't cause them to wonder why that might happen? Is it because new affordable models are coming? Is it because the Cybercab is coming that's going to completely change the transportation industry? Is it because humanoid robots are coming that are going to completely revolutionize the labor industry? How are they not asking these questions? Maybe it's because Elon's been crying wolf for 8 years, so they don't believe him anymore. Maybe it's because they think that Optimus is just a flex in their showrooms. But let's hear from the source.
expand on that a little bit. I mean, you just can't say it's like a good old-fashioned car company.
They're facing competition, they're facing cost pressures, and they're facing this idea that maybe there are other alternatives to competition. But it's all of a sudden, when you stop talking about full self-driving, when you stop talking about human robots, all of these things, and just look at the automotive part of it, it's an automotive company.
Right. Yeah, I actually never thought about it that way. If you don't talk about the humanoid robots and if you don't talk about the robo-taxis, then they don't exist. And then it's just a car company. Okay. I'm actually starting to see where this guy's coming from. He's actually kind of a genius.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where we all thought it would end up at some point, because the other stuff is,
Well, he says it's an AI company, so bite your tongue.
I'm sorry, AI company. All of those, again, dude has a phenomenal track record. But it's tough to build cars in this market, in any market.
Yeah, and maintaining market share was untenable. I mean, you had so much for so long because they were almost the only player in town. But as you mentioned, new companies coming in, new models. So I saw a stat, 63, 65 EVs offered last year in the U.S., 25% of them were new from a year before that didn't exist prior to that. So of course they're going to lose out. And as you noted, as you ramp up production, have more diverse models, you're going to get more recalls, have more problems. So.
What he's done politically probably doesn't help, though. How about that? Is that?
But he did say that he's going to spend more time at Tesla. He's only going to spend 2 days a week working on the government, which still seems absurd.
All right, but if we go to what Brett is saying, that it's pretty much a car company. I mean, on the earnings call, they talked about the unbox assembly, which is, but it wasn't fleshed out so much. It was just basically like, we'll make a car every 5 seconds. Well, okay, you can make a car every 5 seconds, but if nobody's buying your cars, you got a slight problem there. You certainly have, big inventory. So, I think your point is well taken, that it is just becoming a car company.
I can't. If you can make a car every 5 seconds, but nobody's buying it, you have a problem, Gary just said. The car they're going to be making every 5 seconds is a cybercab that has no steering wheel, that is going to make you money, even if you don't own it. You can get from A to B for like way less than an Uber. And what that guy said about Elon's politics, the magnitude of the cybercab, the efficiency, the cost savings, the experience, all of that political nonsense deteriorates. And not to mention the bravery that Elon is putting on. We're starting to see articles. Today we got an article on USA Today by Ingrid Jack saying Musk risked Tesla's health to help our country. We should thank him, not hate him. People are going to realize what this man did. And I'm telling you, whether they realize it or not, the cybercab is something that is too big to boycott. It's too useful. Same with the humanoid robot. So now let's move full circle back to the frickin' teaser that I gave you at the beginning of this video. The final boss of retardation.
In addition to humanoid robots, Musk also said that he wanted to focus on automated vehicles too. And
right. And how they're driving themselves out of the plant.
Right, the robo-taxi
and sort of thing like that.
I think there are actually other vehicle manufacturers whose vehicles can drive out of the plant. But they probably don't talk about it as much because they don't want to bump up their stock. I don't know what.
Or they don't think it's a big deal.
Or maybe that's it, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a big deal at all to save money on labor. I save labor all the time, and I never tell anyone about it because it's just such not a big deal. And by the way, like, who are you talking about? Yeah, what other companies have their vehicles drive autonomously off the line and set themselves up to get loaded onto a boat with no driver? I'm just curious. Oh, right. They don't talk about it. Yeah, because it's not a big deal. Yeah, it's so lame to pump your stock, right? Let's keep that depressed. Yeah, we don't want no stock pumping. All right, guys. Bye.